Thinking about starting on that FXR, at least pull the cone off of it and check the pinion gear, or the pinion end of the crankshaft. And but this, I've got this spare crank and block here, and I want to check it first to see how true this one is. And this one's, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not here, but let's see if I can point this down. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's only, I think there's a chunk of aluminum in the bottom of this case here. It's only 2 thou. It's only moving 2 thou there. I think you're allowed 3 to 5 or 3 in there somewhere. So that crank's pretty good on that side. I don't know if I can check it on the other side. Be nice to take it out and put it on some ball bearings and check it off to where the bearing races go. I just took the pistons off, and this one's got a broken piston. That's the way I got it. Rings are missing. And I think the piston piece is down there because it jams up every once in a while. I don't think I can measure it on the threads there. Hopefully those threads are good. We'll see. Threads might be too rough. Yeah, I don't know how accurate that is. That's moving about 10 thou there. Look at this holder's loose. Maybe in there. Yeah, it's jammed up. Need a skid plate to do it on that. I've got enough parts to build one good engine here. You know, I could get this engine all ready to go. This crank is pretty true. I would take it all apart, inspect everything, and clean it, and put it together, and then put it into this bike here. But I just checked the serial numbers on the cases on this bike. You can't see due to light, but it's right down there. And it exactly matches the one on the frame. It exactly matches that one. Some Harleys don't exactly match. Sometimes they're out by 100 or 50 or 1 or 2 numbers out. But these numbers all match exactly. Like I say, this is a pretty rare breed, this bike. It's supposed to be red, and there's supposed to be only 103 made in red for that year. The dual discs, the Sport Edition. It's not an FXR. Well, it is an FXR, but it's an FXRS, and then it's a /SP special. But you can't buy those stickers, but you can buy these ones. So I just put an FXR decal on there. So. Yeah, I might pull that cone off tomorrow, the push rods out, lifters out, and I gotta change those lifters anyways. Those things are junk. And then I'll measure that crank. And if I have to tear that down, I could put this crank into it. I think this is a good crank. I don't see any up and down playing at all. And the pins felt pretty tight, but I'll check everything again. And they're pretty tight fit. So that's the plan. I believe this one, the guy told me, okay, that's an 85, and I think he told me this one's out of his FLH he blew up, and it was a 89. I believe that's from an 89. Okay, that's it for now. Oh, get up there. Should really have the back wheel up in the air so I can spin it. Or take the derby cover off and put a wrench on it. I just dread doing stuff twice, just dread it. I'm gonna have to pull the exhaust off, pull the mid controls off to get this off. Oh, it's a really fine Allen head. If I just had one bike and worked on it, I'd be fine. But with all these different bikes, I just can't remember. Really small Allen head, just looking for trouble for those who get stripped out. What the hell? What's going on here? Took the whole stud out with it. That's what's going on. So this is the one where I've got the Ultima ignition system here, and I've had to crank it, I mean right to the limit to get the timing right. You know, and all the other ones, you know, you set it dead center. I don't know if you can see there or not. I'll lower this down. You can see the whole thing's tilted. And the other ones I put in, you know, you put them in pretty much vertical. And it's close, within a couple degrees. And usually dead center of the adjuster, right? That's where you want it. You put it dead center, then you can adjust a little bit. Well, it's bottomed out. That bothers me, you know. Why is that timing out so far before I even get started, you know? Like, has the flywheel, have the weights turned, you know, a little bit? It's hard to believe it could turn that much, but yeah, that's what bothers me. Try to get that out without forcing it. So that bothers me, that I've got that right to the max there. What also bothers me, it's got orange RTV silicone around the crankcase gaskets. I remember I said this when I was doing the top end, that like the top end is all done perfect as far as I'm concerned. And I should have put a dial gauge on it. Just, I don't know, just can't believe people can screw stuff up that badly. But so far in this bike, everything has been screwed up. I should have known better, This mother's in there pretty good. Oh, come on. And then the timing, like, and the way it started weird. You crank it, and backfire. Like, I'm thinking it's backfiring out of the back cylinder. I just had that impression. And then it would fire up like, like it would start, but start weird. Like just like start like an idle. Like it just didn't seem to start normal. Like kind of like just started quietly on its own sort of thing. I don't know how to explain it, but it started weird. Come on, I should have enough play in here to get this sucker out. So we got this extra hose down here that should give me the play. I want to look for and see if there's any wear in here. See if I can crank the engine over to get these two loose. Nope. Nope, I'm just gonna undo them like that. Got these adjustable push rods in here. They're S&S, I believe. And you gotta crank them all the way down to get them out, pretty much. These were all new O-rings and everything in here. This bike probably hasn't run 20 minutes since I did the top end. Off and on, maybe more, half hour, but yeah, these lifters when I first started, when the bike's cold, they're perfect, nice and quiet, and then as the bike warms up, they just rap. They just start rapping. And from what I'm reading, that's what they do. I don't like it. Don't like noise. The threaded part, the bottom part of the push rod, the threaded part's squared on two sides, so you can get a little wrench on it to hold it still and adjust it. I'll have to readjust these. I'm going to put in the either Johnson high lift lifters in it, or the fueling ones. The fueling ones, I think you're paying for the name, because they're like 200, over 200 US, and the Johnson ones are like 140, 139. You can get them for. It's made at the same factory, both of them, so. They're called a low leak down lifter. Really high tolerances. Really well built. Okay, I'm going to keep wrenching away. Got to keep these separate. Learned the hard way. The intake push rod's shorter. Oh, I didn't really learn the hard way. The last guy did. The last guy put them in wrong. I found it. Okay. Now, these ones. This one's at the top of the shift, or the lift. Okay, I'm going to work on these. This will take the lifted blocks out. Or 12-point quarter-inch thread or socket you need. It's just nice to find something wrong. Something's bent. And it could very well be the other side. There's a lot of stress on the compensator sprocket, and the drive chain, and the belt. I'm gonna have to pull that off too. I'm not happy with this thing. You know, this rubber mount here, I changed that rubber mount, put a new one in, and it's a harder one, and you do get vibration, but not like the vibration I felt. I mean, this bike was rattling, really vibrating. Something's out of balance. You know, hopefully by the time I get this apart, my lathe parts are in, and I could put the crank in my lathe in the dead centers, and then I can put a proper dial gauge on it. Just put the dead centers on either end of the crank. Something's not right. I got it last night, the trap door here. For the 5-speed for the new style throw out for the clutch. I got that last night. You know, they're anywhere from $100 till I saw one guy had one for $34, I think it was. So I want to switch that out too, because that clutch is way too hard to pull for me. My hands will be cramped. And that way you don't break the shifter dog in here. Which have a tendency to break. This is an 85, and 85 was the last year for that type of clutch throw out. The 86 and up was all the newer style, but you can interchange it from the trapdoor out. I think it's costing me about $100 altogether to make that change. Okay, I'm gonna keep all the original parts for this bike. I've even got the original muffler mounts. I got Loctite on these here, and Makes them a little harder to get out. This is one thing I forgot to check when I put that cam, and I changed the cam. This one had a Screaming Eagle cam in it. I think it's a number one they call it, 101. And I put in a EV 270 cam in there. Like Andrew's cam, and I didn't check the free play, the shimming of the cam to the hole in the block, and so I've screwed the bolt back, and I just took the bolt from this timing plate and put it in the end of the camshaft, and pushing it in and out. And I could put my dial gauge on that. I got a fair bit of play there, 30 thou anyways. So I might be able to tighten that up a little bit. You want a fair bit of play there. I'll check the specs on that, but I do have a fair bit there. Yeah, I'll put my dial gauge on there and just see how much I do have. See if I can record that. So right now it's on the 5. See if I can push this in. So it was at 5, so it's gone 10, 20, 30, 40, 55. 55 thou. Let me see if I can pull it out. Maybe 50 thou. Be nice if this base was solid. Okay, I'm gonna hold that like. It's because I'm on a. What do you call it? Checkered plate steel there. Not a real good base here. See if I can get that better. Okay, that base is a little bit more solid there. Make sure that's out all the way. Okay. We're actually pretty close to 0. And we're going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yeah, it's like 50, 55, 53 thou. So I'll make a note of that. And I'm not sure what the clearances are, but I'll look that up. Maybe I'll look it up right now. Camshaft end play is supposed to be between 1 and 16 thou. I've got 55 thou, so I'll shim that when I take this off. That's something I missed when I put this together. You can usually check it from inside the lifter blocks up here. When you have the lifter blocks out, you can stick a feeler gauge in between the back of the cam and the crankcases. But this works just as well here, right? You can hear it and feel it and see it. So I think they do it that way because if you're changing the cam and shimming it, you don't want to put the whole thing all together and then do it this way. You can just put a couple bolts in, snug them up, play it back and forth, take them off and on. But while I got it together, I can check it this way. So I got to get this off to check the pinion run out in at the end of the crankshaft. So I can pull that back and forth pretty freely there. I'm wondering if I turn the crank over a little bit, if it'll get tight in one spot. Like if the end of the crank and that pinion's going like this, it'll tighten up. I'm gonna try that. Just to see if there's a tight spot in it. That's pretty freely there. Oh, there's a tight spot there. Look at that. Can move it now. Let's get tighter right there. It does get tight. There's a bit of a tight spot in there, so I don't know how much that is though. I just got a feeling I'm pulling that engine out. And I should have done it from the beginning. I just wanted to get it running, fix the top end, and just found all the everything I took apart there. If you go back, this is going to be in my video playlist under the FXR heading there. FXR restoration or whatever it's called. And I pretty much rebuilt everything from here up. All new gaskets, everything right straight through. And I kept finding little problems everywhere. Everything was like the push rods were in the wrong spot. I remember that. That seal was pressed in wrong in here. It was on a cockeyed angle. Trying to think of it up there in the valves. But yeah, this was the one that had all the screwed up valve springs in the heads. Like from a mid 1970s Sportster with their spacers and everything and collars. They were all totally wrong. So this bike was bastardized. So I took it all apart except for the cases, and that's where I can see the orange RTV silicone around there, which doesn't work. It's not meant for crankcases at all. You never use that on crankcases, never. And I peeled a lot of it off. So right then and there, I knew I should have pulled this bike right apart. So I guess I'm going to pull the exhaust off because I don't think I can get this cover. I might be able to get the cover off, but I got to take the mid controls off. To do that, I got to take the pipe off. I'm on my way there. I'm on my way of tearing this thing right down. I'd really like to put a dial gauge on the end of that crank, because that's excessive vibration. I've driven my son had a 2000 Fat Boy, and it had a broken motor mount. I believe it was this one here, and we drove it back from Detroit to Sarnia, across the bridge, 60 miles. And that thing was vibrating so bad, your eyes were watering, like they were blurry, and your teeth were chattering. That's how bad it was. And this bike vibrates worse, and I just put a new motor mount in it. So there's something wrong with this bike. Like, this bike's like a plate tamper, jackhammer. There's a vibration in there. There's no way, even if that motor mount is too stiff, too hard, like a rigid frame. Well, that's kind of what it feels like. Kind of feels like it's a rigid frame. Okay, I guess I'm gonna pull that exhaust off I made. That's a pain. And then these mid controls, do that again. I just get deeper and deeper and deeper here. Got the exhaust off. That's a pain. It's all one piece, eh? I made it all one piece, so It's just a pain getting it out, getting it off this bracket I made here. But I got to take off the mid controls here, so this is all brand new aftermarket. Well, I think this pedal is original, but this part is aftermarket. So I'm gonna put a punch mark right where the slot is, so I know where it goes back on. Yeah, right about there, a little bit up. Right about there. If I pull this motor out, if I end up pulling this whole motor out, I'm doing everything. Probably redo the frame, although the frame's not in bad shape at all. It's actually in pretty good shape. Maybe just touch it up. But the transmission here, all the paint's peeled off the top of it there, so I'll go right through that. I'll certainly clean everything all right up. Okay, let's take this out here. I noticed this lever here is missing the spring clip in there. I've got some of them, so I got to put that in there. Be nice not to have to take this all the way off, which I think I do. What size that is back there? 7/16, 3/8 maybe. Okay, get that bolt out. I just wonder how much play there is here. Goes on like that. Yep, it's going to be a big mess. It's going to go there, put this in here. Okay, I'm ready to take this off. I'm going to get my Allen socket and get started on this. Going to be some oil in there, leak out a little bit. Hopefully not too much. whoop. Oh yeah, there's lots of fucking oil leaking out of there. Would have been fine if I didn't get out my pants. I should have known better. This thing was sumping, so it was full of oil. Stupid. Stupid, stupid. Got lots of rags here. Washer for there. The breather gear. These are these S&S lifters, which I do not like at all. Disconnect that one out, can't get this one out. So I come at the top. Now these, get the timing cover off here. You can tap the bottom of the lifter housing and pop them up. This one here. I got them glued in there pretty good. Block of wood to get on the proper angle here. Use my hickory handled hammer. Gently, gently, there we go. There's the washer for the back of the cam. Like that. Okay. I got an oily mess here going. I dropped my dial gauge. It was pretty beat up to start with, but I don't know, I must have landed on it here and bent it or something. Tried oiling it up. Pissed me off. It's got screws in the back. Maybe I can take it apart. one more thing to fix. I've got my new one for the lathe, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in this jig here. Yeah, I don't know. If I put this in here, like that, and then put it in there, maybe it'll work, the new one. I don't know. Anyways, before I drop this, I was spinning a crank over. It's I was turning the rear wheel. I don't think I filmed it. I don't know. Maybe I did part of it. But I had the dial gauge down here on the deck, which isn't good. It needs to be, bolted to the engine. That's where you want to check the movement from, not the table, because everything moves here, right? Everything, the bike moves. But anyways, I was turning the rear wheel over as slow as possible. And I'd get it would, every time I pushed it, I'd get a little jig, like 5 thou, like a little jig back and forth. But even when I did that 360 degrees, it never went out more than 2 degrees. Maybe 3 at the most, hard to tell because I'm doing it this way. I really need to mount a plate. There's a special jig they have that goes over the timing side here, the pinion side. And it's a steel plate where the dial gauge fits inside and rests right on the end of the pinion here. And that's the best way, the truest way to check it. But I didn't see anything odd. Like I was expecting, with that amount of vibration, I was expecting minimum 20, 30 thou out. And I didn't get that. I'm getting 2 or 3 thou, maybe, maybe if I'm not doing it right, maybe I'm getting 5 thou. That's still not enough to cause that vibration. But this is the kind of alignment I'm thinking that I'm out though. Like there's 3 different types. Let me take this out here. Oh, you could have it out, the alignment out this way or that way, and then you get the ends of the crank wobbling up and down, right? And there's a jig there. See, I can put it in my lathe. Once I get the fucking parts from my lathe, and I'm all set there. But this is the kind of alignment that I think I'm out. Up and down alignment. And it actually can screw up the timing too. So I don't know how I can tell. Because I think even when it's like this, and I'm checking the ends, it's still going to spin true. I don't think like I could have 2 thou out here and still be out quite a ways over here, I think. So, yeah, it's just, I knew this was going to happen. I take this apart, nothing obvious. Nothing major, nothing obvious. But that Tetro channel, he's got the best Harley channel on the internet. Tetro, T-A-T-R-O. And I think he's out of Texas down there. He's got, I think, hundreds of videos. And that guy, it's all he does every day. He's probably got the best part supply in North America. Right from pan heads, flat heads on up. That guy's a genius with that stuff. And it's a machine shop too. That's what he started out as a machinist. And he says most times cranks, when they do get bent, you think it would get bent on the skinny little pinion end here, but no, it's usually on the other side where the compensator sprocket is, because there's so much load from that clutch and the chain and the belt drive, right? If you try to pop a wheelie or do a burnout, you're putting thousands of pounds of pressure on that end, the other end of the crank. So that's where more likely it could be bent. And I'd have to pull off that side over there. Maybe I should have done that, but I wanted to check this. I got to pull the lifters out of this anyways. Those S&S lifters are junk. These are like brand new, and they when they get hot, they leak down, and you get a tap 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 tap, and they're noisy, and everybody says it on the internet. So I don't care for them. I'm gonna upgrade them. I'm gonna put a better one in. So I think I'm gonna leave this until I get the lifters. I might be bolting this back together, or maybe I'll pull off the other side. But I'm making an awful mess here. Yeah, so let me leave that for now. I gotta think on this some more. We got snow. Really coming down. Okay, I gotta think on this Harley some more. I gotta go for it or not go for it. Go for it or not go for it. If I didn't have all the other bikes in the garage and so much to do, I would rip right into that. But oh my God, I got so many projects. That's the only holdback right now. Okay, let me go think on it.
At this point, we're going to be in uncharted territory. It's going to be weird, it's going to be fascinating. We're all going to learn a lot, and this is going to set a precedent. You know, there's good and bad to both precedents, because you don't want every single vice president or your own outfit to decide who ends up with this country. It's going to make his job super important, because the vice president from now on decides which votes are even counted. But that might be what the founders had in mind when they put the Constitution together. Okay,
Oh, you
so
crazy dog.
they sent up 2 sets of ruling electors are Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and the 4 traditional swing states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. That's 7 states. Each time those states have their votes brought up, they will be contested by a senator or congressman, and they will go into that session of debate. They will succeed, they might succeed in the Senate, they almost certainly will. Twice, here's where we are over these epic times.